My name is Britton Baggarly. My topic is child sex trafficking in India, and the purpose of my speech is to inform my audience about the prevalence of child sex trafficking in India. Child sex trafficking in India poses a significant challenge to the lives of vulnerable children and societal development. Addressing these issues of human rights violations, public health crisis, and global security threat requires global public awareness, legal reform, and increased public safety strategies to create a culture in India where the youth are protected. Tina's father reported her missing when she was just 14 years old. I've spent years reading stories and watching documentaries on the prevalence of child sex trafficking across the globe. I've read over many case studies, and researched the impact of trafficking on the lives of victims and the communities it impacts. Every human plays an important role in raising awareness of global sex trafficking. Child sex trafficking implications across the globe are profound, impacting individuals, communities, and entire nations. Today, I will share more on the implications of child sex trafficking. I will begin with human rights violations. Child sex trafficking strips children of safety, freedom, and dignity while they endure emotional, physical, and psychological trauma that can have lifelong effects. After youth are identified as having been trafficked, educational supports and services are often a priority in rehabilitation planning. As trafficked youth begin to re-engage in their former school settings, they may struggle academically because of abstinence, face isolating feelings of disconnection from their peers, deal with shame and judgment, and even worse, endure bullying. Survivors of child sex trafficking experience long-term impacts on their future, like an increased risk of not graduating and attending a post-secondary education. These impacts limit employment, opportunities, and economic mobility as such. The risk of re-victimization increases. Now that I have discussed human rights violations and child sex trafficking in India, let us examine the public health crisis, which sheds more light on the lifelong effects. Child sex trafficking victims suffer extensively from STIs, substance abuse, and mental health disorders. The prevalence of child sex trafficking and the nature of trafficking contribute to public health challenges impacting communities and healthcare systems. Recent evidence from the National Child Traumatic Stress Network indicates that HIV prevalence rates for female sex workers are 15 times that of the general population in India, resulting in a major health crisis for healthcare providers, especially in underserved areas of India. The same study reported that those female sex workers answered yes to being physically abused, reporting being hit, slapped, kicked, or forced to have sexual intercourse or perform any sexual acts against their will. Now that we have examined both human rights violations and the public health crisis that child sex trafficking in India poses, I will move into my third point, and possibly the most relevant point to you, the audience. I will now discuss the global security threat to all nations and resulting from child sex trafficking in India. Child sex trafficking is often linked to highly sophisticated and organized crime, along with other illicit activities. This poses risks to national and international security. Very frequently, the same networks involved in facilitating child sex trafficking are also the same networks engaged in terrorism, drug trafficking, and weapons smuggling. The U.S. Department of State has estimated that any given time there are hundreds and thousands of people in the pipeline being warehoused by traffickers, waiting for new routes to open up or document to become available, and their primary target is the United States. The largest influx of humans trafficked to the U.S. are coming from less developed regions of the world. The most popular transit route for Chinese, South American, and South Asians is through Central America and Mexico. Now we see why child sex trafficking in India impacts our lives here in the United States. Child sex trafficking in India represents a violation of human rights as vulnerable children are exploited and deprived of their dignity and freedom. This crisis not only poses several severe public health challenges leading to increased rates of STIs and mental health issues among victims, but it also contributes to broader global security threats by fostering organized crime networks that operate across borders. Addressing these interconnected implications is essential for safeguarding the well-being of children and ensuring a more secure, just, and safe world. Audience response. The next time you see a 14-year-old girl, ask yourself if she has been a victim of child sex trafficking, or has she been spared such a horrible fate because of the awareness and actions of everyday people like yourself. Child sex trafficking is an emergency everywhere.